It was good.
Looked like y'all had a great time.
Keep thinking,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's how I was thinking.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly. We need all of that here. I don't know how to change things. I wish I did. To get all that here.
Today was hard. It just was, too little. I know. There will be.
Mary.
Yeah, it's working. It's working.
Too much outside.
Do it up here during the presentation of information. Yeah.
You all ready? Yeah.
I'm ready, sir.
Fernando. At 7 p.m., call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Rancho Pass, 600 West Cleveland Boulevard, on March 20th, 2017 at 7 p.m. All rise, please, for the prayer. Lord, we'd like to give you thanks for the many blessings you give upon us here at the community. We ask you to watch over our kids as they grow. We ask you to watch over our elderly. We ask you, Lord, for giving us strength and knowledge as we go through each day. We ask you to watch over all the guests that come through our town. We ask you to bless everybody and all. Take care. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, before we get going, I want to tell you, you did a great job in there.
Yeah, it looks great. Yes, it does.
I was a bit confused.
It looks very nice.
That's a good job, This brings us to item 3-1. Mr. Gillespie?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Howard Gillespie, San Patricio County Commissioner, Precinct 4. First thing I wanted to do is I gave you all a copy of a draft agreement that I've put together. It's a little different than ones you've done before with the county. And then once you get down to all the whereases and you get down to the description of project, the project includes reconditioning base work on streets and or parking areas approved by the County Commission Precinct 4 in agreement with the city. The project is whatever it will be, and then more particularly described in plans and specifications to be developed by the city and as may be amended from time to time during the project. Now, I'm going to start off by doing these projects one at a time, so do one agreement per project. That's just for me. Not every precinct does it that way. But basically the cost. The city and the county agree that the city shall pay for any materials needed to complete the project. County shall furnish all equipment needed to complete their part of the project. We'll pay for that at our expense. So basically, my road and bridge crew and our equipment will be at my expense. All right? But now, the city also agrees to the following. If we're going to do this, what we do is we'll scar fire road, we'll put down new base, and then we'll arrange for a contractor to seal coat it. We don't do hot mix, we just do seal coat. So we have a contractor that does that. The city would need to establish an account with Martin Marietta Materials. We don't already have one, so that the limestone be billed directly to the city, not Precinct 4. Precinct 4 will we'll transport all the limestone. Fresh water, not necessarily potable water, for watering and compacting the limestone that can be reached with our water truck. Precinct 4 will schedule the seal coat with the contractor. Now, once we scarify the road, we put down whatever new base is required. We will crown the road, we'll polish the road, and prep it for seal coat. And then we'll contact the contractor to come in and do a double seal coat if that's what you wish, or a single, whichever you wish to do. Normally, a double seal coat with number 3 and number 4 aggregate, it locks in better, okay? So that's what we've done in the past. So, but that, we'll work that out as part of the details for what cost you want to pay. And then, but the contractor will bill you directly for the cost of the seal coat, since the county doesn't do that. The city will be billed for all fuel used by us, and the city will be responsible for providing traffic control for the project, okay? There will be no cost of, no rental fee, no $50 per maintainer or anything like that per hour, whatever. So we're just gonna do this. Right now, we're refurbishing equipment and going through things, and we've ordered some new stuff. Hopefully be in enough time for this. But anyway, I just wanted to offer that out there to you, okay, as a cost-saving measure for the city. It's been a long time since we did anything. I don't know when the last time we did anything for Aransas Pass. I know the last time anything was done for Ingleside was like 2007, okay?
Probably longer for a round.
So, and when I was mayor of Iowa B, we used this quite a bit to get this stuff done, okay? So, but we're willing to help, and, all we gotta do is get together on the project with your city manager and, let me know what you wanna do. Now, the second thing I brought to you, the rest of that you can read. Second thing I brought to you, and it's dated March 9th, the legislative session progress about the budget battles, about balancing the budget, and, I've already talked about underfunded and unfunded requirements that get passed down to the counties. And you can read over that stuff. There's also issues over local control, about the legislature dictating to the counties on what we're supposed to do. The biggest one is Senate Bill 2, which wanted to create the 4% revenue cap instead of the 8%. Now, that went into financial discussions, and Senator Betancourt and the senators have now just increased that from 4% to 5%. All right. Now, I got a legislative alert today, about 1:15 today, that contact your senator now. Senate Bill 2, a 5% revenue caps bill with an automatic election and wish list of items for special interest is on the Senate's notice of intent calendar and could be voted on by the full membership of the Texas Senate as soon as tomorrow, March 21st. So anyway, if you can contact your state senator, Senator Zaffarini is our state senator, so and let her know your concerns, that would be great. And then the other piece that what I gave you, it just covers what good bills that need support and problem bills. Now this is what the Judges and Commissioners Association of Texas believes. You may or may not believe that individually, but if you do agree with us, please contact your state reps and your state senator. Okay? And any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Just let me know your wishes. All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Fernando, please.
Chief is going to go ahead and introduce a new employee real quick, and then we'll go to 3-2.
Just real quick, we want to move this part of the updates up real quick. I have a new animal control officer here, Tanya Trahan. She recently moved into the town, and we picked her up on animal control. She's replacing Stephanie Boyd, who left to care for her children after pregnancy. So,
Well, welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Okay, the next item, we have employee recognition by the municipal court.
Since we're on the agenda, we're gonna come up here. I'd like to introduce to the mayor and council members Raquel Flores. She's our additional court clerk. She brings court experience, municipal court experience. So, we've been learning, she's learning from us and we're learning from her.
All right.
Hi. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, in item 3, we have the presentation from the San Patricio County Elections Division regarding the new voting software.
Good evening. On behalf of the San Patricio Election Voting Office, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to come and debut the new machinery here in Aransas Pass that will be utilized for this upcoming city and school election in May. My name is Pam Brewer. My coworker Sarah Luna and I are here to demonstrate our new Hart InterCivic Verity. It is the new equipment that was purchased with the Commissioner's Court's approval last year, and hopefully we'll be using this equipment for many years to come. Most of you, I think, got the opportunity to take a moment to vote in our mock election, and you found that it was very simple, very easy, very efficient, definitely an upgrade over our previous equipment that we had had for many, many years, and this is a little long overdue, but we are glad to have it now. And one thing that you should have realized automatically is the familiarity, because it is formatted to be like the current technology that so many of us use today. Most like an iPad as far as voting equipment that I've ever seen while working for the elections office. And so if you don't mind, I am going to take a few minutes to demonstrate this for the public that may not have had the opportunity. And we'd like to also invite you all, if you want to stay until the end of the meeting, Sarah will be here, and you're welcome to come and try it out for yourself. Okay? The first thing you'll notice when you're walking up to the screen is that you have the choice to vote either English or Spanish. At the bottom of that screen, one of the best features, I think, is a voter counter. And for those voters that are a little leery of electronic voting, and we completely understand, especially after November's election, but San Patricio County, we do all our programming in-house. We are the only ones that are around the equipment, and it is not in any way accessed with internet capability. And so everything is hardwired, and we prefer it that way. Okay? This machinery meets those standards as well. And what this machine does, the extra benefit, is that it tells you a voter counter. So as you walk up, you can see how many ballots have already been cast on that particular screen. And at the end, after you've cast your ballot, you can see that it is increased by 1. Okay? So a little bit of security for the voter. Once you make your determination whether you're going to proceed in English or Spanish, then the first screen you'll see is, of course, the code, which was the way it was on the previous equipment. You had to input a code that you got from us. If you'll go ahead, Sarah. One thing this machine does offer is the option of customization for each voter. You can choose between English and Spanish on every page. You can also choose to magnify the text. If you forgot your readers at home, we have a lot of voters that use readers now. And so for those people, it gives them an extra opportunity to be able to continue to vote on their own. Then it shows you an information screen where you can check to make sure that you have the correct ballot. And you have the option to begin voting right away, or you can take a quick tutorial that shows you all the ins and outs of the Verity. Or you can, what's that third thing, Sarah? View contest. See an overview of all the ballot. So from the very first page, you can make sure that way you're not going to miss voting for anything. Okay? Once you begin voting, everything is touchscreen. Go ahead and begin voting, Sarah. We made a special bingo election. We had someone call into the office wanting to know how to authorize bingo in their area, so we took that idea and ran with it. So our first mock choice there is for bingo caller. Sarah and I were both willing to call out bingo if we got elected, and then we thought Big Bird would be a good opponent, and so far I think he's winning tonight. But if you leave the page blank, at the bottom right-hand corner it says skip, because you are skipping voting in that election. So that's a new feature that I like. Once you make a selection by touching anywhere within that choice, then it changes the word from skip to next, because you're ready to go to the next race. On this, go ahead, Sarah. and don't vote for yourself. On this Verity, one of the best things about it is that it's just so easy to maneuver back and forth. And it's just familiar, making it easy and efficient. Go ahead and just go through the ballot, Sarah. Make your choices. You can review at any time. If you choose to review, you can simply touch that contest and it will automatically take you to the correct page. Only one contest is listed per page, and so there's no way to inadvertently skip something. Okay, you have to see every page of the ballot. And so it's really just that simple and that easy to use. We're excited about it. We're looking forward to it. And we hope that if you were impressed with the machinery, that as you talk to voters that'll be coming for your May election, that you let them know just so that they have one less surprise when they get there. To expect this, but to be excited about it and to embrace the new technology that's coming to San Patricio County. Y'all have any questions about the equipment itself? No?
It's nice.
Okay.
It is nice.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you.
That is pretty cool.
This is going to move us to item 4.1, which is the appointment of a commissioner to the Housing Authority. Right now, there's several vacancies in Housing Authority, so anybody who's willing to serve, you can put an application for that or any other board. And we have one gentleman that I'll be approving later at their meeting for Mr. Delgado, but I just want to make it public to everybody else what's going on. And like I said, we've got plenty of boards and vacancies, if anybody's interested, just see the online or talk to Mary Waters. Appreciate it. This will bring us to item 5, which will be the consent agenda. All of the following items of the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the city council, will be enacted one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the council member so requests. If a discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Item 5.1 is approval of the special meeting minutes of February 16, 2017, and then the regular meeting minutes of February 20, 2017.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Lawrence?
Thank you, Mayor. We have several public hearings tonight. Excuse me. The first is a public hearing which I now declare open regarding amending the Code of Ordinances, or excuse me, the zoning ordinance to lessen the minimum floor space requirements for zoning districts R16, R10, R7A, and D. Kat?
Good evening. I'm Kat Como. I'm city planner. And this first item is just lessening the minimum floor space requirements in R16 to 16,000 square feet and in R10, R7A, and D to 1,000 square feet.
This has been approved by planning and zoning, has it not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone have any questions or comments of the council?
What was the reasoning for?
This was actually voted on last year. I'm not sure why there wasn't an ordinance drafted, so just to be clear and concise, we decided to have the ordinance drafted so y'all could see it and vote on it and make sure that that was what was wanted to be passed.
Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments?
1,600.
Anyone else? If not, then I'll declare the public hearing closed.
Thank you. What's the prayer of the council on item 16?
I'll make a motion, we approve item 6.2.
Second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, maybe. Yes, ma'am.
Next is a public hearing, which I now also declare open, regarding amendment to the Code of Ordinances, amending the required distance to connect to public water lines.
This currently, as it stands, the minimum required distance is 1 mile. And what the amendment is for if it's 1 to 3 homes being developed to only be 1/8 of a mile. and if it's 4 to 8 lots, to be 1/2 of a mile, and if it's 8 or more lots, then to require the 1 mile.
Any questions of council in regard to this particular matter?
And this is again something that planning and zoning recommends.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any questions of anyone in the audience? If not, then I declare this particular, yes, ma'am.
Right now, if someone has a piece of property and they want to build a home on it, if they are within 1 mile of public water, they're required to connect to that public water. And this would lessen it if someone's going in to develop a single home or 1 to 3 homes, it would only be 1/8 of a mile requirement. And if they're doing 3 to 8 homes, then it'd be 1/2 a mile. And if they're doing a larger development of 8 or more homes, then if they're within 1 mile, they would have to connect to public water.
Anyone else? Then this public hearing is closed.
What's the further council for item 6-4?
Make a motion, we approve item 6-4.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Next is item 6B, or 5, which is a public hearing on request for Bay Breeze Development for the closure of an unimproved portion of Ebert Avenue west of South Avenue and adjacent to farm lots 1-5, land block 76, T.P. McCandless subdivision, for the development of the Harbor Heights subdivision.
This is just as Alan said, this was part of the development agreement for Harbor Heights to close the unimproved portion of Ebert right-of-way in exchange for the development of the roads to be within Harbor Heights.
This was approved by P&Z last Monday, I think, was it not?
Yes, sir.
Any questions of the council in regard to this closure? Anyone in the audience have any questions in regard to this particular matter? If not, then this public hearing is closed.
What's the further council for item 6-6?
I make a motion, we approve item 6-6.
Second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Next is a public hearing on the request of Mr. and Mrs. Trevino to subdivide Burton Danforth subdivision block 203, lot 9, into 3 lots, to be identified as lots 9A, 9B, and 9C, located on the corner of West McClung and South 13th Street.
Planning and zoning has seen and approved this, and the proposed lots meet all local and state requirements.
Do you know the dimensions of these lots?
They are, 2 of the lots are 140 by 450, and one lot is larger, is 178 by 450.
Any questions or comments by council?
Okay, so they are looking to divide it into 3 lots to build a home in each one, or what is it? Okay.
Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
I got a question. Do we have a replat that we can see on the screen?
There you are.
The way I'm looking at it is that 2 of the lots would be broken into an acre and a half,
Yes, ma'am.
and one is,
A little over.
1.8 acres. So there's still very large areas.
And it's in the R16 zoning district, so it more than meets the minimum square foot requirement.
Anyone else have any questions or comments? If not, then this public hearing is closed.
Favor item 6-8.
I make a motion that we approve the replats.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Fernando, someone?
All right, for the first item we have here is awarding the RFP for planning services for the planning and capacity project to GrantWorks. They were the only person that submitted, only group that submitted for the RFP. Staff recommends approval. This grant will allow us to get a better comprehension of what we have in the city as far as infrastructure, roadways, businesses, and housing, and where we're heading to and what we can improve. So it's kind of like a master plan. Our portion of it would be, I believe, 21,000, and the grant will cover 55,000 of it.
I'm reading what you have down here, but still, that $55,000, in which half of that comes from the city, correct?
No, 55 is part of the grant, and then we pay the 21,700.
Total fee of 76.
Okay. And what is this for?
It's a master plan of the city, get an inventory of our streets, our infrastructure, what businesses we have, housing, and to get a better handle on how the city's growing and where we're at now, so we can work on our comprehensive plan for the future growth.
Is this something that other cities do?
Yes, and it's something that I believe we really need with the city, that gives a better handle of what our infrastructure is like. That's our main concern with this, being that with the issues we're having now with failing infrastructure.
So would this tell us like what size lines, if they're clay or whatever?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And we have Betty Kohler here with the project, that if you have questions, she can better answer them.
And that's, I know, as far as like on the sewer side, that's one of the problems that we're having all over
Yes,
city.
sewer and water, because
Okay.
lately, every weekend, we have some kind of break. So it's something that really benefit the city.
So what does this company do that can provide us all this information that we cannot do, or we don't have this information? How do you obtain that information?
What we will do is work with all of your maps that you've got. Every time there's been a project, there's a map for this, and a map for this, and a map for this. We'll take all of those maps and combine them onto one and give you a good, full, comprehensive existing system map. And that way, it'll identify the line sizes, as you said, the ages on what we can tell, and some of that. Because there's always a turnaround and always different engineers doing different projects, getting all of those maps into one big map for y'all is something that you don't have. It's been project by project by project. This will get everything into, like I said, maps of existing system, and then it'll give you a 10-year comprehensive plan on identifying your priorities of the areas that need to be, are the oldest, and how to work through, give you ideas for funding sources and all that. You'll be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 10 studies done. There's the base study, which is housing and land use. It's just one big map. It's all color coded, and so you'll know where your business districts are, your R1s, your R2s, your multifamily, all of that. Then your housing, being a housing quality, we have teams that will come and drive every street in town and identify if the houses are anywhere from dilapidated to excellent. There's like a 5-score range of from 1 being dilapidated to 5 being in very good condition. And then you also do a population growth chart of what it was when you formed in 1920 or whatever to what it is now, and projections of how it should grow in the next 10 years. So all of it starts as a now, and what old we can get, we put together the old information, add it to now, and then project what you're going to have in 10 years. You've got your base, that's the base study. Then you're going to get one with the streets and street conditions, which identify drainage structures in your streets. Then there's the water study, which would be a conglomeration of containing all of your maps and giving you one map. Wastewater study, capital improvements program, which will be obviously working with your staff and you to get your goals and where you see yourselves going and what you want how to put together a plan for 10 years of making those improvements along the way, big improvements along the way. Then you'll have a Parks and Recreation study where you look at all your parks and the equipment that are in them, recommendations for funding and other sources on maybe where to put a neighborhood park instead of just having your one great big park. And it's gotten to be a real big deal lately of having the neighborhood park so that the kids don't have to go across town to have a park to play in. And then we'll review your zoning ordinance, give you any recommendations on tightening it up, loosening it up, making it better, more usable, easier to use, easier to read. And then also a subdivision ordinance. If you don't have one, we can give you some samples and help you develop one. And then all of that goes into one big old binder that's like about like this, and then you've got maps of existing and future. And then you have what I always call the Chamber of Commerce edition of the written text part talking about the employer with the most people, highest employer here, where all of your services come from, everything from water, gas, electric, even your fire services, your EMS, all that kind of stuff. It's literally a Chamber of Commerce information, what you ever wanted to know about Aransas Pass in one binder. And it's, like I said, we will have typically, for a town this size, probably 2 to 3 teams of cars going around driving the whole town. You'll have our mapping department, which we've got about 6 certified community planners on our staff that will be coming, meeting with the staff, holding public workshops for the public and then with you to put together all of this stuff to make sure that it's what you want it to be, not what we want it to be, what you want it to be. And it's a real fun thing to get to put together and see the growth. And because I live down here, it makes it even more fun because I'm seeing the growth and knowing how hard it is to direct that growth without some guidelines to do it. And this will be a real good guideline for that.
So how long do you think it'll take to get this
It
study
takes about
done?
2 months to get it all together.
Almost 2 years.
According to how cooperative your engineers are on getting some older maps and some newer maps and working with the maps that they have in their files.
And just so the council knows, the last time we had our infrastructure surveyed and mapped was 1983.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the last maps we have.
I know that we met during the summertime. We had 2 or 3 meetings as far as kind of discussing what we needed, what we wanted to look at, and work on that. Is that going to be part of the study? Because I know we met like at 7 in the morning on Saturdays, 2 or 3 Saturdays.
Sure. Yeah, and those ideas can definitely be incorporated into your plan, sure.
Now, what was your name again? Please.
Betty Collier.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I hear a motion approved for item 7-1.
I make a motion, we approve item 7-1.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, the next agenda item we have is for the sidewalk project amendment. As you recall, the council approved the realignment through Wilson. This would occur additional costs on the engineering part for an additional $14,000. So this is an amendment to the original contract. We do currently have funds on other projects that work to that firm that we closed out that we can transfer in there if the council wishes to approve.
Have we ever seen a drawing or map or anything, planning view of this?
The final alignment hasn't been done yet. We have Scott here with LJA if he can shed some more light on the alignment.
Hasn't been finished yet.
Good evening, Councilman. My name's Scott Jones. I'm the project manager for LJA, and I'm not sure, Fernando, if you've actually gotten a PDF of this exhibit.
Yes, we have the PDF, but I don't think we've ever brought it here too.
This is the
I think we've seen this one.
that's essentially the project map that went in the TAP application to TxDOT that approved the project. And the only modification is that when we were doing the topo survey, we found that the Nelson right-of-way was only additional right-of-way was only dedicated on the north side where that residential development is right before Avenue A. The south side right-of-way wasn't taken, and then when you get between there and 13th Street, then it's all undeveloped. That's still a 40-foot right-of-way. So there wasn't enough right-of-way to build these 10-foot sidewalks, space between the edge of pavement and the right-of-way. So we had to find an alternate route, and we talked with Sylvia before Fernando and then with Fernando, and the route that was agreed upon that was made the most sense and was also basically the same route, same amount of infrastructure, was to go up and use Wilson. So that's the deviation. Instead of turning down at 13th and going to Nelson, we went up to Wilson and come across.
Can you tell me the reason why the sidewalk needs to be 10 foot?
That was part of the original plan for the TAP application. I mean, it's a kind of a combination pedestrian bike amenity. So that was
Okay.
the original scope.
Can that be amended? Does it need? And I'm asking that because I'm very familiar with hike and bike trails in different parts of the state. The Woodlands, you know, a very premier planned city. Clear Lake, Texas, again. They have extremely planned out, developed hike and bike trails through nearly every subdivision that they have there, and they're at most 6 foot, at most.
That was part of the original planning, so, but at this point, the AFA has been approved through council resolution, so if you want to change that, then you would probably have to go back through and modify the AFA and the original paperwork with TxDOT.
Would that mean like going back to square one?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's just a large amount of land
Yeah.
to accommodate. I am very much in favor of the hike and bike trail. I just think that that's a very large amount of land to
I
take
don't remember if
up.
that was originally a city desire or if that was a stipulation of
It was
the
from
TAP funds.
TxDOT?
TxDOT. But I do know that if the desire was to have a combination pedestrian and bike sidewalk, which I believe that's what it was, TxDOT's minimum for that is 10 foot. So.
If I understand correctly, I think the majority of that land belongs already. It's a right of way for the city. It's not
It's
that
a
we're.
public street
It's a
right of
public,
way.
we're not taking anything from the.
Well, it
residents.
is the way it's going to be rerouted. Yeah,
So we're not taking any property from the residents.
yeah. But if it was not rerouted and it still went the original direction,
And that's why the amendment, because there was not, the right of way wasn't there.
There wasn't
correct.
sufficient right of way.
But if it wasn't so large, it could still go.
Actually, no, because you only have like about 2 feet. It's where the edge of pavement is, you wouldn't even have enough for a 5-foot sidewalk along Nelson.
Okay.
And the process, as it were, doesn't really allow you to acquire new right-of-way with this TAP application, because that would have instigated a whole nother rules with TxDOT and environmental.
Thank you, Mr.
I could provide this to you.
I think we got that last time. Mhm.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion for approval of item 7.2?
I make a motion, we approve item 7.2.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, the next item we have here is a request from the Coastal Bin and Bin Classic and Custom Car Show. They're requesting an amount of $5,000 and the use of the Shrimpery grounds on September 2nd for their annual car show.
Good evening.
Hello.
I'm Sarah Mackey, and this is Alan Jones. We're getting ready for our fifth annual custom car show on September 2nd. And we're wanting to see if we could get a little help from the city of Aransas Pass for help funds. We are also going to have, last year we had probably 150 cars show up. We had 115 that were registered. We're hoping that it'll be bigger this year. We did add the food trucks last year, and so we're hoping to continue that on to get more spectators into the area.
We also added a swap meet also last year. This is our 5th year. We started out small. We started here at the community center.
Right.
We outgrew that. We went to the chamber. We outgrew that. We went to the shrimpery grounds. We're hoping we're going to outgrow that eventually.
I don't know where else you can go after that.
I
right?
don't either. It just
We'll
kinda-
block downtown.
There you go.
I would love to block downtown.
We'll just build a parking garage out there.
Well, we've been doing good things with our money. We've donated to the VFW. We also did Citizens Night Out. We've done,
Actually, a couple of things, and we've also, the big one that we helped sponsor a fishing trip for the vets out of Fulton. They take the guys fishing for a day, actually for a couple of days, and we do have them over here in the Aransas Pass for a dinner, so we're hoping to
That's
kind of
good.
continue on with that.
Good.
And
We're
we're
getting
kind
the
of
word out.
trying to get a little bit more, other than the vets, if any, organizations that need help, we try to help, so. And we did the Toys for Tot too with Dennis Andrews this last year, since he couldn't do it, so we're kind of trying to spread out a little bit and help.
Good, good.
Hey, Sylvia, so last year, did actual more cars show up than what you had expected?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. We actually stopped the registrations, it was 1 o'clock, and we had 115.
Wow.
After that, we had more cars show up, but they didn't.
They couldn't compete.
They actually couldn't compete for the trophies because we had to stop to start counting the voting. So we had quite a few people. We even actually had, I think, Allen's Floresville. We had some from Belton. We had Victoria, a group from Victoria brought in quite a few cars.
They came with about 20 cars
Yeah,
out of Victoria.
so we had a big variety of different groups from areas, so it was a lot bigger than we had anticipated.
So how was the food trucks? How?
We need to scale down. I think there was too many of them because this is the first year we've ever had it.
Mhm.
And so we probably are gonna try to pick, the ones that had a good time that last year, as far as, benefit to them.
Yeah, we talked about going down to around 10 because we had food trucks, plus we had arts and crafts vendors out there too on the
Yeah.
slab.
So we're
And
gonna,
that was full.
so we're gonna try to kind of scale down and kind of limit so that we have more, help the food trucks get a little bit more business than what they had last year. So it was a first-time thing, so it's
Sure.
kind of.
It's always a trial.
First
Right.
trial and error,
There you go.
trial and error, yes. But it was great. We had a blast, and we've had a lot of good response from it. As far as the Facebook, we've got over 700 likes and views and stuff, so everything we post, they watch, so.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion for approval of item 7.3?
I make a motion that we approve the Coastal Bend Classic Car Show with hot funds and the shrimpery grounds.
I second.
All fair say aye.
Aye.
I need to abstain because I'm on the board for the car show.
Right, the last item I have here on the agenda is a request for donation from the Science and Spanish Club. They're requesting an amount of $2,000 for this year's World Seagrass Day, where they'll take fourth and fifth graders from our local schools, and they will be purchasing T-shirts for the kids.
Is Mr. Gonzalez here?
I don't believe he's going to be able to make it tonight.
Well, I make a motion that we approve. I know that he works really hard with our,
Yes, he does.
with that particular Spanish club, the Science and Spanish Club,
Is-
so.
Is he still with the district?
As far as I know.
I wouldn't know if he's still with the district or not.
I do not believe he is. We might want to table it. Does anybody know if Mr. Gonzalez is still with the district or APISD? I don't believe so.
Till it gets more information. What's the,
The event's for April 7th, so it's next month.
still got time.
No.
Well, and the thing is, they want to order the shirts for the kids, and in order to get them in, I think that's why he put it on the agenda for today.
Yeah, because next month would put right at April 7th.
And
Is
what
that-
is the
Well-
school district's input to the,
Okay, 'cause I
Well,
know-
the kids from our school are the ones that are participating, so that's what the shirts are going for, is for the kids, our kids from,
so who is our sponsor?
who's our sponsor?
So who is our district sponsor for this?
I don't know who the district sponsor is.
Ms. Branch, by any chance, do you have know what's going on this?
And he's, It's not with the district.
I didn't mean to
anymore.
put you on the spot, I just figured, I saw you,
Yeah.
that's why I asked. Thank you, ma'am. So we got two different motions.
What, I think we still need to, because I know it looks like he's taking some of the children from a Charlie Marshall Middle School on this particular trip, and just $2,000. I make a motion that we approve the $2,000 contribution.
Second the motion.
All fair say aye.
Aye.
Oppose.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So I'm just going to talk briefly about our stats. They're on the screen there, and they will auto-publish this evening as well online. I'm going to breeze through them. Pretty well everything's consistent as far as traffic stops, citations that we're issuing, no formal staff complaints. We did have 7 staff recognitions, and some of those are shared in the notes below. Just some of the highlights to share from patrol. I got a lot of details there that you can follow up on later on, but one of the things I want to mention is one of our officers, Corporal Jay Hinojosa, was actually very familiar with the TABC rules and stuff like that, so he went out on his own. This was the second time he did a pre-spring break minor sting on 15 businesses that sell alcohol, and I think we had only one, and it was the new Snappies, if I'm not mistaken, that sold alcohol to a minor. And I want to say that that was the second time the offender was arrested this time around. As far as investigation updates, we have quite a few. They've been staying busy. Been recovering a lot of burglary property, a lot of stolen property, which we're excited when we're able to recover it because it's not very often. But it seems like on one case, out of one on Beasley, we just keep finding more and more property, which is really nice. The other thing is, if you remember, of course, the Jenna Hernandez murder case, we were able to convict Johnny Lee Davis, and I will tell you, he is a hard cat to catch. He is a career criminal, and he's been in and out of the system for many years, so we were very fortunate to finally get a jury to convict him for his involvement in ordering the murder of a 16-year-old girl back in 2012. Adios to him for a while. As far as training stays steady and heavy. We still are trucking along pretty well. And with emergency management, no real updates other than the storm shutters were installed at some point. I don't know if you've noticed them all around the building. That is part of the emergency management division. I will tell you that next month our stats are probably going to skyrocket. We had special enforcement out for spring break, much needed to try to create or put down or suppress some of the disturbances we tend to have from the influx of traffic trying to head to the island. Arrests alone, in the 1 week time, we had 27 arrests. So it was actually pretty active for us during that time. And we'll bring those updates to you next month. Again, these will be published online and available for everybody to see.
How are things going at the pound there?
At the pound?
Everything's
Everything's going smooth. We have the updates there. We've been taking in a lot of animals. In fact, I don't know if you noticed her while she was there. I don't know. But she had a little sack. They just recovered a baby kitten that was abandoned in a tree. So they recovered that. They're going to be nursing that kitten to health and then hopefully getting it adopted. We've made a lot of progress as far as not having to put down animals. If y'all can recall what happened when all that information made the light. Euthanasia is still part of their job, but we have a high success rate at adoption. In fact, during that time, we still had a high success rate at adoption. I think it's more prevalent nowadays than before because we put a lot out through social media and we want the public to know how far we carry our animals out. So I think it's doing very well. Stephanie Boyd, who recently left, was paramount in helping us restructure our ordinances to hold faulty pet owners accountable for violations. You know, it's not the pet's fault that they're abandoned, it's the owner. It's like having a child and not taking care of it. Jessica came along and she's real heavy on enforcement. In fact, she's she's smoking some of the officers on citations for pet violations. So she's doing really good in that realm. She's also working with the public, those that really want to be good pet owners, and trying to facilitate some of those needs. The other thing that we're working on is some media campaigns through funds provided by the Crime Board. So as summer starts to heat up for us, we have a tendency to have animals left behind in vehicles. So I'm working on an ad right now that we will push out heavily through Facebook and stuff to try to remind people that, hey, look, your car heats up pretty fast. Don't leave your pets inside. Even with a cracked window, it's dangerous. So that's one of the other things that we're working on as well for animal control.
Good job. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
This is doing this item 12-2, Mr. Cox.
Mayor, Council. Following January's extremely busy month, we come back with February, which was one of our slower. Year-to-date, 3/15, when I ran this report, we were at 122 incidents. For the month of February, we were 37. Last year, we averaged 49, so we're well down on those calls. Still, overall, because January was so heavy, we're still a little over 3% running higher than usual. Business occupancies added to ERS was 321. That's an addition of 16 new businesses. And our annual fire inspections completed are 12 for the month of February. With that, we got our goals. I started outlining some stuff that we're doing in the Inspection Bureau. It's more than just going in there and doing those inspections. One of them is we've had an influx of red tags. That's where outside sprinkler system companies, where they do the hoods, stuff, they come through and they'll inspect the equipment, and a lot of times they'll get a red tag. They have a responsibility to contact the fire department and let them know about that. And we've had a lot of them, including our local schools. We have, currently 4 red tags at schools, and that's equipment we can't use because it poses a fire risk. We're spending a lot of time to make sure, because those, just as it may sound, red tag, it's that important. We're trying to oversee a lot of those. We have them throughout the city. We're taking care of that, working with the business owner on a mediation plan of how we're going to get them fixed or remedied.
What's the time span on that?
It depends on, one of them we had today that came in is they've added a new grill. They didn't think about it. They said, hey, we could use a new grill. And they put it over there. Well, it's not under a protection system. So it's one of those, don't use it until they can repipe it. And it's, it's usually not that big of a deal, but you can't do it yourself. You have to have a certified technician to come out and install that. It's not a huge financial burden on the business owner usually. But some stuff is more complicated. It may be a host system's failed, or it may be structural. We have right now a local restaurant that's putting in a whole new hood system. Even to my surprise is how expensive that can be with the stuff that goes through the roof, the vent on top. I know they're over $10,000 on just this ventilation system alone. We're set up some weekly meetings with the building official to better integrate the permit and inspection process to enhance customer service. We're trying to eliminate that where people are going to the building official getting one answer and they're going, and they're keep sending them to multiple people. We're trying to find a streamlined process. We have one that we're getting close to pushing out. It's going to work through the water department. What happens is we just drive around and, and I may say, hey, when did this business pop up? And it's not uncommon for somebody just, hey, here's a building, I'm going to open a business, and away we go. And we, not only is the building official doesn't know about it, the fire, we didn't do a fire inspection, and just kind of, it slips by. We're trying to integrate it where when they go to get their water turned on, they have to have, basically a document that's been signed off by the building official and the fire inspector. That kind of gives them, basically that permission. Now, that's in its infancy. We're still, getting through that. It'll have to go through legal as well. We had a good month of training. We had 179 hours, plus or minus 30 of in-house training. Right below that, you'll see some of the most predominant training. A big bulk of that was both the Chief Borrego and I attended some Fair Labor Standards Act training, Blue Card Command training, and then we had Texas A&M here doing strategies and tactics for initial company officers, which the entire department and some outside agencies attended, as well as several of us attended the Fire Educators Conference in Corpus. Fire hydrants index hasn't moved at 421. There were 8 of them tested this month, and the total out of service 18. Public Works came through with some documents on this, and they actually completed service repairs of 15 hydrants that had work orders on them. So that's that's a big number. That's with with all the tasks they have, we're excited about that. There's ones that they weren't out of service, but they needed repair, so they got 15 of those work orders completed. We had no injuries, but we did have a near miss. We're building a military brush truck right now, and we had a firefighter fall off that truck during the construction of it. It was no injury, but it was a near miss, and we look at our policies and procedures for that, and we've made some amendments so that it doesn't happen again. No grant monies received during February. I'm continuing on. I'm hoping by the end of this week, we're going to complete the Texas Forestry Forest Service DoD Firefighter Property Program to get us another 2.5-ton brush truck with a skid unit. We're currently onboarding 2 personnel, and the construction of the brush truck is, I got here 90%. I think we're a little bit higher than that. It's fighting us hard this last little bit. We've got, the construction of the outer shell, getting the pump in there, and then the thing overheated today. Like, we wasn't expecting mechanical stuff. But I think we're about 95%. I'm, again, hoping at the end of the week this should be able to respond to brush fires. Go to your next sheet, you'll see some of the response, and we've gotten really lucky. You'll have one there that says detailed breakdown by incident type. Anything in a 100 series, those are fires. So if you'll look, we had a trash fire, a natural vegetation, and brush fire. Each. That's quite rare. So we've gotten really lucky with the rain, the high humidity. They kept us from those brush fires while we didn't have a brush truck. Everything else, the typical numbers, the EMS responses, rescues. And then the following 2 sheets just going to be a little bit more detail of what the training was and the businesses the occupancies that we updated.
Yeah, still working with the PD with the heavy haul trucks parking in like Walmart parking lot overnight. Any crew trucks? The crew tankers or anything that park at the parking lots?
Like hazards, tankers,
Yeah.
and stuff like that?
Yeah, still keeping up with those, right?
I'm not familiar with anything recently as far as activity with the police department side, but if you know of something, I'd love to explore that with you later.
Absolutely. I know in the past, sometimes, you get overnighters, they pull in.
Yeah, and I have noticed that, and I still notice that quite a bit in Portland because they're along the main route there. That kind of takes them to Sinton in that area to San Antonio, but I haven't really noticed too much of that type of activity over here. But if you know something, Mayor, I'd love to look into that for you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
This is going to bring us to item 13, our citizen comments. The floor, it's 7:56. The floor is now open for citizen comments.
Mayor, City Council. Over the last several weeks, I got my last water bill, the dreaded water bills, right? I checked the month before. I got 2 water bills with the exact same usage down to the gallon.
I know we know you, but you need to state your name.
I'm Steve Warren at 617 North Houston
All
Street.
right.
Sorry. I have the head to city pull up the usage off of my meter. I do have one of the new meters. Everything, if you add it up daily usage, it does add up to 2,400 gallons. But there's absolutely no way that in 2 months I used the exact same amount of gallons. I'm not sure if I'm not being charged, if it's not charging through the city software. Maybe I'm not being charged enough. Maybe I'm being charged too much. I don't know.
2,100 gallons, sir?
2,400.
2,400 twice?
2,400 gallons twice. So I had the city print off my water bill since back in 2012, and there has only been one time that it shows in here that my bill was $59.39, 2 months in a row. But then you go over to this sheet where it says the water usage, and the one water usage was 29, the other one was 17. So it doesn't make any sense. So their software praying doesn't even add up. And I show you all this if you want to see it. So I don't know what y'all are going to do or what you can do, but I think the citizens do deserve an answer. And I know I've been sitting back here, and I know you guys have been asking the experts questions, trying to make decisions on how you vote. Well, when we come up to y'all should respond to us either tonight next few days, somebody should call the citizens when they come up here. I know several people have came to me when I told them about this, and they said, well, it's been really quiet. Nobody's been talking much about their water bills. You know why? Because they're not getting any answers. They're not getting any answers from y'all, the city manager, the water department. It's like knocking on wood, you know. Y'all have to respond to the citizens. Y'all have to let us know when we come up with these issues, what y'all can do about it.
Get you some feedback on it.
We need feedback. That's what we're here for. That's what you guys are here for. Give us feedback on what's going on.
I do want to thank Mary and Sandra for getting you that information for
Yes,
the meeting.
thank you. And if y'all want to see this, I'd be more than happy to show you.
I believe you.
I saw it.
I believe you.
But
I wish I had an answer.
we need to do something, because this is getting ridiculous. This has gone on way too long. And I don't, like I said, I don't know if the meters are not reading right. I think they are, because they're all the digital meters. I don't know if it's from the software coming from the meter to the software that we have in the building.
Are we still having software issues, Fernando?
I believe everything's been corrected already, and I'll meet with the finance director tomorrow and look at the numbers, but I know they provided him the information today, and we'll review it and look at it, see what is there. From my understanding, everything's been working properly.
You can, if you can email us what the
Yes, I
response
sure
is.
will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fernando.
Thank
Thank you,
you
Mr.
very
Warren.
much.
Hi, my name is Harry Boyd. Yes, I'm Stephanie's uncle, Stephanie Boyd. I live at 337 South Commercial Street. Is that information going to be made public? No, I'm talking about with you all, everything that you're presenting.
For Grant Works.
As far as the planning and all that. Will there be announcements made for the public to participate in the paper? Thank you. Anyway, I've had an opportunity in the last couple of weeks to spend some time with a few hours with one of the candidates, and I've been so impressed by their platform. So what I did is I decided that I wanted to learn what everybody else was doing, and I want to say a couple things first. I want to say thank you, Chief. I witnessed, because of where I live, the police dealing with all the stuff last week, some major accident. I mean, a really professional job, and I really want to thank you for that. And I really mean, I literally saw a lot of things. Phil, thank you very much for your time here. I've heard from everybody what a great, and Mayor, thank you for the prayers. I really do appreciate that a lot. So I decided to run a search, and this is what I came up with. Okay, I went to the Aransas Pass Progress, and I put in elections 2017, no results. Then I decided, I took it upon myself to go to everybody's website. Vicki, I have to tell you, this is hilarious, but this is what came up when I put your name in for Facebook. It was the wrong one, but I got to tell you, it was the best political ploy I've ever seen. Carrie, thank you. Wonderful fish. Biggest things I've ever seen in a million years, you know, and everybody's got some great signs. I like the color of your signs, Mayor. And Miss Bailey, all of these, and then there was some, of course, that I couldn't figure out. This, I think, is a mayoral candidate. My point is this: I came up with zero.
So, I don't think so.
You know, and as a citizen, I'm really, and I mean this in all sincerity, I really would like to know where people stand on things. You know, you know, I've been up here before. I don't have an attitude. I don't have an agenda. I was really impressed, and she's actually here, with Jan's work, and I'm sure everybody's got something going on, but I don't know how to access it, and I don't know where it's made available. And so I would like to propose that since there's three of you that are running, that you set a standard of first off, let there be principles above personalities. Let's raise the political discourse a bit. You know, a lot of us are moving into this town, and we're used to a little higher level of discourse than running for a city or a student council. I have a few questions I'd like to put into the record that I'm interested in, and that I couldn't find any information. Do you mind if I read them real fast?
No, go ahead.
Is that okay? Thank you. Number one, what are your specific ideas for bringing new businesses into our struggling economy? 2, how can we further support our police force, specifically dealing with the influx of hard drugs in our community? I have a 17-year-old. I'm really concerned about that. I also, since Stephanie's been brought up a couple of times, that they represent a young couple in this community. They can't find a reasonable house, where they can bring their kids up with a nice yard. So I'm obviously interested, and I thought Jan had some great ideas around that. What are your ideas about bringing reasonable price housing? I mentioned that. 4, what are your ideas for further cleaning up our town and surrounding roadways? 5, what are the ideas for beautification projects that also protect the beauty that's already here? I guess I mean trees, huh? 6, how will you support our tourist industry? And this I'm talking to the council as a whole and specifically I'm hoping that the 3 of you will help set up a higher dialogue. 7, how can the council, in tandem with our local schools, support training programs that support future workforce in our community around the tourism? Like, for instance, tourism. I've had the worst time trying to hire young people who know how to show up on time, who know how to speak correctly. You know what I mean? And we're not the only community, and I'm not blaming anybody. I finally found one, actually.
Hang on to them.
Thank you. Do you support a more transparent local government? Would you support sharing the criteria in questions that are used in the city manager search process? Can citizens post questions somewhere that could be included in those interviews? Can we have some input about it? That's all I'm asking. Would you support an open and a citywide planning process that would for the future of our community? I've actually participated in Durango, Colorado. It was a wonderful, absolutely wonderful process, and I was going to suggest that we get somebody, and I guess you did. So God bless you all. Would you support what ideas do you have regarding improving and creating new parks? And I particularly would love to see, and I was talking to Sylvia about it, is a beach just on the other side of the bridge. And I've looked at it, and I've asked a whole bunch of people, and I've got ideas about it. But it would really help to, for people to hang out and come back. How can we improve the relationship of our city council and our chamber regarding improving the public image of our town and luring more business to Aransas Pass? I've been coming through here all my life. I love this place. We have a lower crime rate than Rockport. But why are we always getting, it's about PR and it's about, doing some advertising. I happen to know somebody that's in that field if you're ever interested. 12, how can we improve our city's bond rating? What infrastructure improvements do you feel, and I don't know, that may not be an issue anymore. What infrastructure improvements do you feel that we need? And would any of you candidates or any of you support a future bonds? And how would you explain that to the community, which I'm not against bonds, by the way. What are your ideas for better marketing of our city? What ideas do you have for further development of Conn Harbor? I moved here in the hope, and I've invested to this point about $500,000 in the community, and so I'm nervous about the economy here. What ideas do you have for improving the street appeal of our business districts? Would you support the creation of an arts district, which would include using those terms in our city ads or what we do as Rockport does in PA? Would you help establish incentives to bring businesses here, large and small, to our community? Perhaps tax incentives, low-interest improvement loans, and especially creating an internal office inside of the city council whose primary goal it is to work with people coming in that want to do business in kind of a one-stop place, where developers can sit down, or even small businesses. I've been treated really wonderfully, and I'm going through the process right now dealing with permits and all that, and I've been treated with nothing but respect by all of you. But anyway, that's it. That's all I got. I hope I came in within the time. I will put these in the newspaper, and I'll drop some off to her in a few days if you're interested in any of those. But there are a number of people who I know who are really, really want to know how to get information on platforms and ideas and things like that. So Thank you so much.
I loved all your
God bless
questions.
and good luck.
If I didn't know any better, you stole all of that from me.
I was very impressed with Jan.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
My name is Jose Castillo. I've been here for 30 years, more than that. And my concern is the city, why we got so much trash around the city? Like we got branches, we got couches, we got all this stuff. We need somebody to start, picking up all that. What are these kids doing? What are they doing? I pay a lot of taxes. And I'm an old field man, and I don't like what's going on here. I always stay over there offshore, back and forth, stepping ground, fly again, back and forth. And that was my concern, sir. I live in South 160, South 10th Street. This is my mom's house. And there are bunches of, what are we doing, what are you all doing with the Republican services? Are y'all sold it, or, because we had BFI before, then Republican services came in.
They've been replaced. We have Absolute now, correct?
So I tried to go over.
April 1st.
April 1st, the new company starts.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So how about furniture that I don't need no more, like remodel my house and
Right.
stuff like that. How when it's gonna be the month where I can bring it out? Do I need to go pay? I went over there today to the city,
Mhm.
and they said they won't allow to throw no palm sleeves, stuff like that. Why? Do I gotta pay?
The city collection station is not allowed to accept brush anymore because of TCQ regulations. We can only accept bulky, and you can get that if you have a water utility bill. Come to the front office and give you a voucher for a free truckload. Yes.
I did have it.
But if there's palm leaves or brush, they won't allow it because it can be mixed in with the bulky trash. The Republic doesn't allow it, and we can't accept it at the yard anymore because of TCQ violations.
Okay, how about those couches?
The couches can; you can bring those in.
Okay, with my ticket.
Yes.
But how often? I mean,
You get
every
one.
month?
You get one free a month, and then if you come additional, you just have to pay for the fee.
And are we working with Republic to clean up what's up before the other company takes over?
Yes, I just met with them today, and they're still 2 weeks behind, but they got additional trucks, and they guaranteed that they're going to have it cleaned up before their contract is over at the end of next month.
At the end of this
And,
month?
the end of April. They finish in the end of April.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
it was April 1st. at the
No,
end of
it's
it.
May 1st when they're going to transition the last week of April.
Okay.
So we're working on the schedule with him right now on that, but he guaranteed that by the end of April, his bulky trash will be picked up, and they're doing about 3 trucks here in Aransas Pass right now to catch up.
3 trucks
Yes.
a day or a week?
He said 2 to 3 trucks, I guess, per day. They're doing in several areas to try to pick up because they were so far behind that now they don't have the 6 cubic yards anymore. They got more than that, so it's taking a lot more to pick up.
So they're trying to get everything.
Yes, because for their contract, they have to leave it clean before the next contract takes it over.
Okay, good.
Good.
Yeah, proceed.
Yes, sir?
Okay.
Oh. So, my second question is, so how often they gonna go by that? Like for example, on 10th Street South, 160, how often?
The schedule's online.
I'm just concerned, okay, both of them, the trash, I know the trash you were doing it
Twice a week?
Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Yes, and
Now,
that's
they're
gonna
just
stay the
doing-
same.
They're not doing it Saturdays. My trash can, you can go over there, Marshall's, Gino Lane, all those trash cans are full.
Okay, yeah, if they don't,
Saturdays, you go to pick it up.
the trash pickup is remaining the same day, same schedule for everyone. If there's any issues, just contact the front office and we'll call them up and make sure they get picked up.
No, call the office tomorrow and they'll make a special call for them to go by and pick it up.
Yes.
Okay, I can do that. Okay, because I don't want somebody hit it and all the paperwork, paperwork.
I know.
Anyway, I was not concerned. Thank you very much, and I came in late. I was just throwing all that trash. So, when I'm gonna be able, not the pump, but the metrics,
The mattress and the couches, yes, you can.
Mattress and couch?
Yes, and they're open,
But having the ticket,
having the ticket, and they're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays,
Tuesday, Thursday, to Friday?
and Saturday.
Write down for me. Can you? I didn't bring no pen, for real.
Sure.
My dad used to be a lot of food. Thank you very much. God
Thank you,
bless
Mr.
you.
Castillo.
Thank you.
Castillo.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City of Aransas. My name is Gilbert Hernandez. I'm from Gregory. Me and my son, we bought some land on Rife, south of Rife Street. We came here to see if we can get some help, just like what he said. We're gonna try to develop a neighborhood where people can afford the houses that we're gonna build. They're gonna be anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 square feet. I gave some pictures to Mr.
Quintanilla.
Quintanilla. And he has the prints. You know, it would be great if you guys could help us with the streets. Right now, we can't get no permits because the streets as per se are paper thin, and according to the ordinance, we're not allowed to build until those streets are developed. I'm just here to ask for help. He has my plans, and we would love to invest here. By the way, I just came from the city council meeting in Gregory. Exxon is there. You heard that Exxon is coming.
Yes.
They got approved by the the county of San Patricio. No matter what Portland says, no matter what, it's been approved.
They're gonna have to live somewhere, right?
Especially me. I'm right there. I'm gonna open the door,
Yes, sir.
and they're gonna be right there. I'm for it. I'm a businessman. My wife, she don't care for it. We raised her 3 kids there. She loves it. Hey, but it is what it is. We can't have our cake and eat it. Like I tell her, we need gas to fuel up. What they're gonna be doing, the things that they're gonna be doing, it's for us. It's for all of us. And, it's one of those things that we gotta, sometimes we just gotta put up with it. They're gonna make my street a 5-lane, the county road a 2-lane. I have a business which is called Duty Calls, the portable potties. I also have other businesses around there. Hey, what more can I ask for? This is gonna boost up my business. I mean, it's something that we all dream of, the American dream.
Mr. Hernandez, you're looking at building 2 or 3 houses.
We're looking at 4, maybe 5, depending on our neighbor, if they're willing to sell one more lot, and we can complete. We have 9 lots. They all are 25 foot by 160. So that'll give us either 4 for sure, 2 of 50 for 160 feet, and then the last one would be 75 by 160. So phase 1, once we start phase 1, we'll go with phase 2, phase 3, back to back. And they will be for sale. One of the things that was questioned to me, well, what happens if military person comes in because of the tax? Well, we cannot discriminate against people that go and fight for us. That's something that, I strongly believe. I mean, if they get a tax break, so what? So be it. I mean, hey, if it was your dad, your brother, hey, we're all we're all God's children. So, but
And we're all indebted to our service people.
yes. So if I can have some help on you guys helping me develop that street, see what we can come up with, I'm very workable. All right. So, any more questions?
No, we'll take a look at your plans.
Okay.
Thank you for coming up here today.
Well, thank you. All right.
Appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I am Jessica Hernandez. I am a resident. I'm a homeowner here in Aransas Aransas Pass, and I am here to talk about the beautiful live oak trees that are part of our community here. My attention has been brought to the recent cutting down of the large oak trees within the median of Harrison Boulevard, Partial Street, Highway 90. I have obtained information about the project from TxDOT website and understand that this is a grant-funded project called the Green Ribbon Landscape and Enhancement Program. This program works with projects to plant trees and shrubs to help mitigate the effects of air pollution. I applaud the admirable efforts of PB, which is Keep Aransas Pass Beautiful, to obtain funds for these sort of projects to beautify our community. However, in the future, I feel that we need more public input before cutting down any more heritage oaks. It is my understanding that the project could have moved forward with the oak trees incorporated into the design. When it was determined that the oaks could not be transplanted, why was the demo project pushed through to happen now before the contract was awarded to the contractors? I'm also aware of another project involving safe routes to schools that was mentioned earlier, the hike and bike trail.
Yes, ma'am.
And at last council meeting, Ms. Flores spoke on behalf of the concerned citizens that various large oaks and other species of trees may be subject to being cut down. So I've come here tonight to ask you to place a moratorium of cutting any additional live oaks until a comprehensive plan for our city and the impact of cutting down these heritage oaks has on our community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, Cynthia Vasquez, 1003 West Rhodes Avenue. I am part of Keep Aransas Pass Beautiful. It's open to any citizen who wants to be a part of our group. No fees. All you have to do is be willing to show up, like me, my husband, and my children have for the past almost 3 years since we moved here. We clean up the parks. We go and we've gone and picked up, trimmed down the Siemens Memorial Tower area. We do Newberry Park. And once again, I encourage citizens to be involved because that's how you can be informed of what's going on in your community as well as making a positive impact in your community. I understand Jessica's concern about, why the public isn't notified. Because of that, that's one of the reasons I applied to be a part of our planning and zoning board. There was an issue that came up last year where they wanted to reduce the size of homes in R16 areas to, 1,000 square feet. And, I thought to myself, how as a resident had I not been informed of that and found out that, by being part of our planning and zoning board, you are involved, you know what's coming up, you can have, your voice heard. So once again, I encourage residents to get involved in our city committees and our city nonprofit organizations, and you would be amazed about the things that you are, informed about as your as your city's ongoing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Roy Vasquez, 1003 West Rhodes Avenue. If the city is still willing to plant some of these oak trees over at the Memorial Park on McCampbell, I got about 1,000 of them on my 5 acres. You're more than welcome to come and dig a few of those out and go put them. Seriously, if you guys want some oak trees, I got plenty of them. Dig them up, go replant them wherever you want. Okay.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to make a citizen's comment?
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. My name's Dottie Averback. I'm only lived here about a year. I live at 315 West Guile. And lots of controversy happens when there's changes made in neighborhoods and on streets. And my suggestion is a lot of other cities have instituted when there's going to be a zoning change, they put up signage. when an organization like Keep Port Aransas, I lived there for 10 years, Keep Aransas Pass Beautiful undertakes a project, there's some signage put up, not only to give them credit and give them a recruitment tool, but to make everybody in the area, in the neighborhood where those improvements are going to be made, aware of it, and maybe get them to participate. It'll solve a twofold issue. It'll help with recruitment and getting people involved, and it'll keep people informed about zoning changes down the street from them that if they don't hear about, they're going to come in here and gripe at you at. And that kind of signage is used widely in larger cities. So that was my, I'm also in favor of a temporary moratorium on cutting down oaks as we watch communities around us do everything they can to preserve those oaks. Maybe it's time for us to take a second look at how we treat the oak trees. But I'm like Roy, I have so many oak trees in my yard. If you need some, come dig them up. Thank you.
Thank you, Fernando, can you look at putting an ordinance together about the oak trees for the next meeting?
Yes, sir, I will.
Thank you.
Can I double dip just for a second?
Yes, sir, come on up.
Sorry, I forgot the big thing. I was going to ask if you guys would maybe sponsor a forum for all the candidates and all the races, and that it be publicized so that everybody can, participate. It's just been really hard to find out information. So that's what I just wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else who'd like to make a citizen comment? If not, that's going to close our citizen comments at 8:25 p.m. We're going to move over to our executive session. City Council will recess to executive session to discuss the following items pursuant to Chapter 551 of Texas Government Code. Item 1 is 551.071, a consultation with the city attorney over the harbor lease of Captain Bait Shack. Item 2, section 551.071, consultation with the city attorney, municipal court case file. If you're here, when we come back, appreciate you waiting. If you're not, I hope you have a good evening and be careful going home.
Okay.